Welcome to Python Basics with AJD. I'm still talking about Python control flows. This is the fourth video in the series talking about Python control flows. We had seen conditional statements in Python, loops in Python, and of course we looked at loop control statements, talking about things like break, continue, and else, right? So this is the fourth one as far as Python control flows are concerned. Of course, Python control flows talks about how codes are executed inside of Python, and that is why we've been looking at all those different topics. Don't forget that you have access to all the code sheets I'm using. Just look at the description box in Python, or even on Facebook. Look at the caption. You'll find a link that takes you to a Google Drive where you can download these code sheets, and then you can follow step by step if you want some hands-on experience. In this video, our focus shifts to exception handling as control flow. All right, exception handling as control flow. So we go to Google Colab where we've been writing our codes. So I just come to the task to the address bar and type Colab, and then it takes me there. So I want to talk about exception handling as control flow, right? So let's see this. Okay. So exception handling as control flow, the objective in this situation is to use exception handling to manage runtime errors and control execution. So we want to manage runtime errors and control execution. So, sometimes it can be very annoying to see errors when you run a code. And some errors are, they are they are to be expected. Like when you divide by zero in mathematics, for instance, I mean, you're expected to see error in that situation. So exception handling helps us to manage such situations, runtime errors, and control execution. So the first in that series will be the try except construct. So the try except statement redirects flow when errors occur. So there's an error, we know, but then instead of giving you outright error statements, which can look pretty ugly, then the try except helps you to take care of that, right? Okay, I think I need to clear all outputs here. Okay, so here now we have this. So imagine this first one now. Try. So don't forget it's try except, right? Try except. So try a number. So input means that the Python is going to prompt you to supply your own result, your own input, right? So enter a number. So, and the number has to be integer based on this code now, right? Maybe a clearer thing, because anybody interacting, if this was to be an application, right? Anybody interacting with it would not know whether it is integer or not. So maybe it would have been clearer to say enter a whole number or enter an integer, something like that. So enter a whole number. So once that is entered, then what is going to be done is to print 10 divided by whatever number you impute, right? And then now, so once you do that, so 10 divided by whatever you supply, so you're going to have except zero division error. So we now define a zero division error. So if the number you impute is zero, of course, you can't divide by zero to give an error. So instead of giving that error, so you control the situation. So that's why it's called exception handling, right? You accept yourself from the error you should have thrown out normally, and then you are in charge to now say, so just tell me it cannot divide by zero instead of just giving that kind of error like that. Then another case is except you also have value error. So if you do an invalid input, like we are expecting a whole number. If you do a floating point number, that'll be invalid input, right? So we can have as many excepts as possible. So that's the try except construct in that situation. So I run this now because the first one would always, okay, it's telling me to manage sessions. There are other sessions that are maybe taking resources. So I'll just terminate all the other sessions since we are here now. So I'll terminate and then close. Yeah, then we're back with our thing. Okay, so we have a situation which we are trying, and then we have two exception. Okay, I think I've jumped. Okay, yeah, I'm here. All right. So if I run this now, okay, of course, we can use this run button, or we can use Control Enter or Shift Enter or Alternate Enter if you want another cell to be to be created automatically after you run the current one. So now we need an integer. So if I just put 12, all right, so I press enter. So 10 divided by 12, that's 0.8333. So that's okay. So that gives me the actual result. So line 3 is working here. So we can't divide by 0. So I run again and I impute 0. All right. So if I impute 0, it cannot divide by 0. So instead of normally this should give me error, but then because I'm in charge, I say it cannot divide by 0. So invalid input, we expect integer, right? But let me see what happens if I impute a float. Say I impute 1.2. Okay. So it's going to tell me invalid input because we're expecting integer. What if I run again and I impute, say, R? That's a letter, which is also invalid. We need an integer. Now, let me see what happens. 0 is not expected. What if I now have the float version of 0, like say 0.0? So, okay, the invalid input takes precedence over the fact that it cannot be divided by 0. So because what I've even imputed already is not recognized because we need an integer. Okay, so that's how try except goes. So you have try and as many except as possible. Now we also have what you can call the try except finally construct, or just simply finally, because finally will not just work on its own. So it's like try except finally is a better way to go about it. Okay, so this always executes and it is useful for cleanup. Imagine that we try number, of course you impute a whole number as usual because we need an integer. So you print 10 divided by the number. So you have except 0 division, cannot divide by 0, except value error, invalid input. Then finally is to tell you that the job is done, execution is finished, whether the division is done correctly, or you cannot divide by 0, or there's invalid inputs. After whatever has been done, it will also mention to you that execution is completed, right? So this finally always executes and it is useful for cleanup. So I run this again now. Okay, so let me put 4. Okay, if I do 4, tells me okay, the division is normal and we have 2.5, execution finished. So what if I impute 0? So it says cannot divide by 0, but then execution finished. What if I impute a character that is not correct? So maybe GHT, and I press enter. So that's invalid input, execution finished. So finally, always tells you, oh, the job is done. You can move on with your life. That's the kind of thing that is. So we also have the else in try except construct, else in try except construct. That is else. So we have already seen try and except. So we now have to use the else statement in the try and except construct. So this executes only if no exception occurs. So if no exception occurs, then this tells us successfully executed, because normally, in the other case, if we say, if it say put a number, we need a number as answer. We don't need any exception. So if there's an exception, then we can say it's not successfully executed. So imagine try, print no errors. So you have an exception, print error occurred, else print successfully executed. So in this case now, just do this, and then we get no errors, and then that is successfully executed, right? So if no exception occurs, then that is when you say it is successfully executed, right? I think I want to use this same example. All right. Okay, instead of finally, right, we can then use else. Yeah. So I'll just bring this one here and I use alternate enter, so another cell is created. So I come here and then I do else. So execution finished means whatever, I mean, you have done something, but successfully executed means that you actually, there was no exception, right? Or maybe we can even say no exception. Basically, that means you have done the job like that. So no exception. So if there's no exception, that's what you get. So now I run this as usual. Maybe I say 3 and we get an answer. So it says no exception. Or I can even say slash successfully executed. Successfully executed. Okay. So no exception. So let me do 6 this time around. So no exception, successfully executed. But what if there's exception? So I run again and I put 0, okay, and I press enter. So cannot divide by 0. then it won't give us this else. So it means successfully, not successfully executed. That's the idea in that case. So what if I put wrong value? Say I have 6.7, which is float instead of integer, then invalid input. So, but it's only when things are right, right? That is when you get no exception and successfully executed. So that's the idea of using else in try except statements. Okay, so now I think, yeah, that works. So what are some common pitfalls when it comes to um, exception handling, right? For exception handling, catching overly broad exceptions. So if you have too many exceptions, that can be, or overly broad exceptions, that can be a problem. Forgetting finally for resource cleanup. So if you need to know that, oh, was the job probably finally right to tell you that, oh, okay, the job is done. So you can forget that. And you can also misplace code that should be in else inside try. So a code that should be in else, if you put it inside try, that can be a problem too. Okay. So in summary, try is good for risky code, except is for error handling, else is for success. A risky code is something like, division, which is, and it's possible to divide. It's risky to divide by zero. It's not possible to divide by zero technically, or taking the square root of negative number if you're not dealing with complex numbers. Then else is for success block, to tell you, oh, the job is finally done. Then finally is to tell you, well, whether it was done successfully or not, we are done. Basically, that's what that is about. So with this, we come to the end of this video, the fourth video on Python control flows, which is about exception handling as a control flow. Exception handling as a control flow. All right. So you see, it's really cool. So you can be more in charge of your coding when you use Python by understanding these control flows. So this is the end of the video. If there's something, if you let me know how helpful this is for you, and if there's something you'd like me to try out, feel very free to let me know. If you have subscribed already, thank you so much. If you have not subscribed, of course, you're missing a lot. So you want to subscribe right away and hit the notification bell so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released. Then you can take it a step further by becoming a member of the channel. Just click on join. I see some special privileges you stand to enjoy as a channel member. Then don't forget to like, share, comment so that more people can have access to this great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing Python right. Bye.